and we would cook cornmeal porridge, which I will share with you. My feet is my only carriage, so I've got to push on through. But while I'm not, everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please be upstanding for the guests of honour? Would you please be upstanding for the guests of honour? Thank you very much. Please welcome your host for this evening, the Baroness Benjamin.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the House of Lords. This building stands between two bridges. Westminster Bridge to our left, Lambeth Bridge to our right. Westminster Bridge is painted green, which means it's near the House of Commons. Lambeth Bridge is painted red, which means it's near the House of Lords, because everything in the House of Commons is green, everything in the House of Lords is red. And Lambeth Bridge is near Lambeth Palace. And Westminster Bridge was the second bridge to be built over the Thames. And it nearly didn't get built because the Bishop of Lambeth, who lives just across the water, had a ferry service, a business, and he did not want the bridge to be built. That's why it took so long to get the bridge built. And the River Thames holds a lot of our history too, because 300 years ago or more, ships used to come up the River Thames with our ancestors from the Caribbean, bringing sugar, tobacco, cotton here to London. And many of the people who got off of those ships worked really hard to end slavery. That's how far our history has gone back for us with our Caribbean story. Across the water here, there's the Mary Seacole statue. She, in fact, did so much for the Crimean War. At Waterloo Station stands the National Windrush Monument, where thousands of people came to London from the Caribbean. Thousands of people. That's why the National Windrush Monument stands there, to celebrate their contribution to Britain. But before that, hundreds of Caribbean people left Waterloo Station to go to war, to fight in the Second World War and the First World War. That's how far our history goes back. In Westminster Hall here, Samuel Coleridge Taylor, who was the great composer, he held meetings here because of the racism and the discrimination people of color felt during those Victorian days. That's how far our history goes back. The King, he actually commissioned 10 portraits to celebrate Windrush 75. And those 10 portraits are of Windrush elders they were all over the age of 90. People who have made incredible contributions to our country. They're going to be part of the Royal Collection, but at the moment you can go and see them because they are now at the National Portrait Gallery. Go and see them. There are so many things that we Caribbean people and people from the West Indies have had connections with here in Britain. But how many people know about that history? How many people know about what I'm talking about? Not many, especially our children. They do not know about it. And now is the time, now is the moment when we can really galvanize all the efforts that's been done in this country to preserve our history. We've got to start leaving legacies. We've got to start writing things down, acknowledging things that has happened, and not to be ashamed. Not for our children to be ashamed of being black, but to be proud of being black. For white children to be proud of all the black children in their classroom, because they have a heritage and something that should be celebrated. And I think that's why we're here tonight. We're here tonight because of a mission and a vision that was drawn to my attention. When I heard about the National Windrush Museum and what they wanted to happen, straight away I bought into it. I could see all the connections. I can see all the history that I've talked about and so much more being there for all to see, for being studied, for being part of our education system, because it needs to be, that message needs to be spread. So when our children grow up, they know who they are. They haven't got to ask any. We haven't got to have a Black History Month, just 1 month of the year. It's going to be 12 months of the year when you're studying it, when they're viewing it, when they're absorbing it. And so I bought into the idea of having a museum where all of us in this room, we're doing things. We're doing things across the country, bit by bit. But the museum is going to draw everybody together. It's going to focus our minds. And I made a speech at the Greenwich Maritime Museum to celebrate Windrush Day. And Pamela Franklin, who is here tonight, she had an event there, and she asked me to come and speak because she wanted to celebrate all things as Caribbean. And so I was honored to go there and make a speech. And I mentioned in passing about the National Windrush Museum. And straight away, the people in charge of the Greenwich Museum said to me, "We want to be part of this vision. Tell us more. Let us work together. Let us see how we can actually bring that part of history right into the center of our capital city." That was like music to my ears, because you see, everything happens for a reason. Had I not been invited by Pamela, had I not met Les and Levi and all the committee talking about the Windrush Museum, I wouldn't have been able to express those thoughts in my speech at the Maritime Museum. And we're here tonight to celebrate the joining of forces, of something that's brilliant, of something that's going to be historic, of something that's going to make us all feel great about who we are and about our history. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. We're on the move. So I want all of you to, like me, buy into this vision. See what you can do. How you can make a change. What can you bring to the table? Because this has to be a collaboration. We can't do it on our own. No, none of us here, no matter what we've tried to do, we can't do it on our own. We need to join forces. We need to show each other that, yes, we can make and rise to the top. We don't pull the ladder up when we reach somewhere. We put it down. We open the doors wide, wider and wider and wider, so that children understand they have a history and a legacy. So thank you all for being here tonight. I want you to sit there and think about what you can do, because you're going to hear a lot more about the National Windrush Museum and the vision of it. So thank you all very much. I love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Baroness Benjamin. We're now going to hear from Junior Giscombe, who's going to sing A Change Is Going to Come. That was a famous song by Sam Cooke.
You know, they got me now saying things like, food will be served. Mad, right? I've been making music for the last 40 years, and I've watched from the beginning of the 80s, late and 70s, to not having a voice as a black artist, not being able to say what you want to do, not being able to be a part of your own community without stretching out and losing yourself in another. I've been very fortunate that the music that I've made and the things that I've done with my career has allowed me to live my life fighting for the betterment of black people, and especially the betterment of young black people. I went out back in the 80s and could go to schools and talk to young people about music and about coming from areas that were deprived and still have the goal and all for it, go for it kind of attitude. So I'm not going to talk for too long. I just thought a change is going to come. It was an apt song to sing because I think we have come to a change and we have come to a point where we are now moving forward collectively and doing things in a much stronger way. So, Maestro, if you press that knob and I'll sing this song. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now, Baroness Benjamin, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, Bishop Rose Hudson Wilkins will now say grace.
Thank you. There is a saying that if you want to go fast, travel by yourself, travel alone. But if you want to go far, travel together. And one gets a sense that we are on this journey together. We belong. We belong. And all that we're going to be doing with regards to the museum will be telling our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren that we belong and that we are here to stay. Let's have grace. In a world where many are lonely, we give thanks for the fellowship that we share in together. In a world where many are hungry, we give thanks for the food we are about to participate in. We ask you to bless the food and to bless us in your service and those who have prepared it, and help us always to be mindful of those without. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Baroness Benjamin, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on with our programme, please welcome Denise Lediat, National Windrush Museum Director.
Good evening, everyone, and I hope you're enjoying yourself so far. This journey is about the past and the present. This journey is equally terrifying and exciting, given the scale of the challenge. This journey has been a long time coming. So I echo Junior Giscombe with the change is going to come, because it's overdue, at least 75 years overdue. Our challenge is to put the Windrush narrative back into the British history, because that's precisely what it is. It's not separate, distinct history, it's British history. It simply needs to be put back into the timeline. And as a nation, we will all be richer for that. Okay. Okay, my other challenge is that I have to introduce Dr. Les Johnson. Now, the challenge in that is that I could do that for an entire day, but given that I've only got a few minutes before I introduce our chairman and founder, what I will say is that it is a testament to agency, and that agency in terms of not waiting for something to happen, but there's a saying, if it's not there, put it there. And that's precisely what's happened with the National Windrush Museum. It was put there, there was agency, and that is the agency and the resilience that certainly I saw as a child with my parents, and I know many others of you in here saw that same Windrush resilience that put things in place. One very quick example I will give you that will help you to resonate with that is that our parents decided that we needed additional support at school in the 1960s, which is a great deal of foresight. That additional support at school manifests now as Kuman. And you wouldn't necessarily put those two things together, but that's essentially what they did with Saturday schools and having extra supplementary education. Someone has now taken that concept and now it's a thriving commercial entity. But certainly our parents had that foresight back in the 1960s. So that's the kind of resilience that I'm coming from. That's the kind of agency I'm talking about. And certainly our chairman and founder, when we spoke about founding a museum, with his expertise, one of the things he said was that he wasn't prepared to wait for us to submit a bid to start the narrative. What he said is that if we were able to prove through our feasibility that it was necessary, that he would fund the startup. That's agency, that's philanthropy within the black community, and it's something we should be very proud of. Right, Dr. Johnson is what I call and it's a word, I always forget the word until I start talking about it. It will come back to me, as my mum says. In terms of the many skills, George Carver Washington, what was the name for George Carver Washington? He's no, he does peanuts. Polymath, that's the word, thank you very much. That's the word, I always forget that word, but it's so relevant. And I will hand over in a second, but it's just to take a moment, because I only realized that through the conversations that we were having, I could see one element of excellence, and then another, then another, then another. And then I said to him, "You're a polymath." Huh? And he looked at me as to say, "What are you talking about?" But I'm going to share just snippets, and he's probably going to be very cross, but we were having a conversation about music because he's a musician. And then he revealed that as a musician, he'd played backing for Bob Marley. And I thought, wow. But he's also an alumni of Royal College of Art. So these conversations went on, and then he's a serial entrepreneur, a very successful one. So these things began to evolve out of the conversation, and that's what led me to my conclusion of him being a polymath, because also he's an academic. And so each time we spoke, something more came out, and I said, look, we need to stop talking now. At some point, I'll write the book, and not yet, we'll deal with the museum first, but it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to a chairman and founder, and my friend, Dr. Les Johnson.
My lords, ladies, colleagues, Baroness Floella, and Her Excellency, and all of the distinguished guests that are gathered here today. It's a pleasure to be with you. Denise is very kind, very imaginative, very poetic, very abstract, but she is a great, great friend. And I think that's the thing that resonated the most in her presentation. Here we are today, and isn't it a great day? And I want you to say something with me. Those words are, I am making history. So let's do that again. I am making history. Let's say that again. I am making history. And let's say one more thing. We are. Come on, guys. We are making history. Yeah? Now, why do I say that? And this isn't going to be a long speech. You'll have to come to one of my lectures for that. But as our noble Baroness said in her opening speech, this institution has been here for many, many centuries. And when you think back to the history of this institution and some of the great names that have passed through, it's quite spooky, really, because I've got a sense that they're looking in on us. And I'm not that type of person, so don't get me wrong. But if you could imagine that all of those individuals who've been in this institution, and looking and saying, what on earth is going on? You know, all of these faces were about to take over and make this nation a new and prosperous, diverse, innovative nation. And I always talk very much around building assets. We've got some fantastic things that happen. For example, this year is what? Come on, guys. Right, Windrush 75. It's a fantastic year. Many, many, many things have happened throughout the year. Some wonderful things have happened throughout Britain. And my concern has always been that these wonderful things happen, and then it's here today, and it's gone tomorrow. So I always talk about the need for having assets. And I say that without assets, we have no power. Without power, we have no legacy. Without legacy, we have no assets. Without assets, we have no power. Without power, we have no legacy. Do you get what I'm saying as to why we need a Windrush? Come on, work with me, please. Remember, without assets, in other words, a museum, we have no power. Without no power, we have no legacy. We need a museum. And I don't talk about a single museum either. You know, we are a national Windrush museum. And so there are many colleagues here, and I could call them out one by one. Nice to see you, Leroy, and all the fantastic things that he's doing in his space. And he knows what I'm talking about. And there are other individuals that I'm seeing here in their space who are contributing in their way to making this country and the Caribbean diaspora what it is. So I want everyone to give themselves, let's give ourselves a good pat on the shoulder. Come on, guys, let's do that. Because I'm one of these individuals. It is about collaboration. I'm seeing Wade, I'm seeing Levi, I'm seeing my friend Paddy. And all of these individuals have been contributed to this. Now, for those of you who can see on my right, you'll see someone who's looking on. Can anyone get some points by telling you who this person is? This is indeed my mother. So she's looking on, and I wanted her to look on because she was the individual that inspired this idea of a Windrush museum. She passed away just before COVID, and I thought, while I was walking on the sand, and I looked back and I saw some footprints in the sand. And of course, the waves were coming in, washing over the footprints. And I thought to myself, she had come in 1959 with my father, and they had worked in Britain alongside perhaps some of your parents. And I thought to myself, they managed to get back to the Caribbean, to Jamaica actually, and they managed to have their dream home by the sea and all of this. But when I looked, I thought, did anyone remember them in Britain? Did anyone even know they were there? You know, where are the assets? Where is the museum? As the Baroness mentioned, you know, the fact is that we'll be able to have an institution that individuals can go to, and that knowledge and innovation and all of the great things in the arts can be disseminated. But if we don't do that now, I fear for the next generation. This is something that this generation has to do. And if we don't do it, the next generation, Gen Alpha actually, they will have gone somewhere else. So I'd like to thank you so much for joining us here today. I'd like to thank our host. And we had this discussion about who is a host, but I'd like to thank the Noble Baroness for inviting us into her, can I say front room? Into her front room. And I'd like, as Denise said, for you all, in your own individual way, to join us on this great journey. We're looking for board members. Levi, I'm going to introduce Levi in a while. But if you feel that you can play a part in this great journey, please don't wait to be asked. please come and volunteer. And this is a multi-generational, a multicultural effort. So don't feel that this is just for individuals who are Windrush per se. There are individuals who are born and grown up with the Windrush generation. So everyone here, please take part. And in homage to my mother, I'd like you to put your hands together. Now, a few months ago, I think, I was introduced. Well, first of all, I heard the name, Paddy Rogers, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And and then we met over in Battersea, I think it was, Paddy. And I'm not quite sure who found who, but we were both searching for each other. That's what I would say. When we found each other, Paddy, very, very good friend of mine, he said, Maritime. And I said, Windrush. And then Paddy said, Maritime. Then I said, Windrush. And then there's one more time, Paddy said, Maritime. And I said, Windrush. I think you know where this is going, don't you? So we saw that there was a natural synergy. That was the first thing. The second thing he said was, we should try to seek to have a symbiotic relationship. And I thought, aye, what does that mean? But, you know, that's the type of gentleman Paddy is. And since I've met him, he is a true gentleman and extremely deep. That much I can say. Very, very insightful, extremely inspirational, and what I would call a people person. Now, his staff may say different, I don't know. But certainly the engagement that we've had, I'd like to thank you. And I'd like you, ladies and gentlemen, just to put your hands together for Paddy Rogers, who is the CEO of the National Maritime Museum and the Royal Museums, Greenwich.
Well, I brought a pen with me. So we will be signing something this evening. First of all, to my hostess, Baroness Floella, thank you so much for organising this evening. What a lovely occasion. And to all my fellow guests, isn't it lovely to be here? And isn't it a wonderful occasion? The thought that came to my mind when I walked in here this evening was, you know, we have the saying that a rising tide lifts all boats. But there's one boat, the Windrush, which has raised a tide in British cultural consciousness. And I think it's really important that we pick up on what Baroness has said, what Les has just said. Let's not let that tide ebb. When a tide is taken on the flood, it leads to fortune. And this evening is an opportunity for us at the Maritime Museum to step forward and say we want to be part of that voyage, to be part of that surge, that wave of enthusiasm for taking something which has often felt temporary and make it something that has longer legs and more people following. But that tide I talked about has not been raised by one or two people. It's been raised by many, many people working very, very hard. And I think that that's the metaphor, or that's the concept of what we want now, which is that more people join, more people come. It's not Black History Month anymore. It's our history year every year. Let's make this something. So rather brutally, a former chairman of mine used to say to me in the shipping industry, look, it's lead, follow, or get out of the way. Let's all take this as an invitation. It's a collaboration, an opportunity for change, broad, total perspective. Everyone can step forward. Everyone can play their part. So what we're doing this evening is not just an agreement or a collaboration between us and the National Windrush Museum. It's a model for many, many collaborations. Thank you all very much.
Now, the next speaker is someone who probably needs no introduction. However, I can say that we've become very, very close friends over the last 3 or 4 months. Everyone put your hands together for the great Levi Roots.
Thank you, Doctor. Lord of mercy. Glasses out. My lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as the chairman of the National Windrush Development Council, it was my responsibility to call on you for this most important and historic gathering. So let me begin by saying a huge thank you for answering my calls and for responding to my many, many, many emails. I think some of you may have thought that I was trying to sell you some sauces, but it was indeed a cry for action. And I give thanks that you all heeded my plea and counted my advances in kind. It was indeed an historic sounding out, a plea that as from this night, the same call will echo and carry up and down around the country, in cities and towns, even inside these hallowed walls. But more importantly, the harmonies that you put to my call, I am hoping will reverberate around schools, in their classrooms, and in all education institutions. That a change is finally on its way. That a righting of wrongs and the recognition of true heroism is now finally being addressed and celebrated. There is an old saying that many are called, but the chosen are few. But today, my lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate the few, the Windrush pioneers, who played their part in the building of this great nation. For me, it began with Basil Watson's magnificent monument, championed and inspired by the amazing work of Baroness Florella, Paulette Simpson, and others. It stands proudly inside Waterloo Station, representing these words: "You called, and we came." But I asked myself, is it enough? Should we stop there at Waterloo? I say no, because the family of the 3 pioneers who were depicted by Mr. Watson's brilliant sculpture did not end their journey at Waterloo. They went on a pioneering voyage of discovering throughout this nation we call Great Britain. It was one of this country's most celebrated writers who once wrote, and Paddy stole my line, that the tide in the affairs of man had to be taken at the floods in order to gain one's fortune. William Shakespeare went on to extrapolate that if one was to omit and miss the strong raging high tide due to fear, then all your adventures would be lost, deemed in the shallows of miseries. But on such a full sea, our pioneers were afloat. They had taken the high current when it served, without fear or trepidations. Because for them, this wasn't about gaining adventures. It was in Shakespeare's sonnet, it was indeed all about nation building. Because you called and we came. Each that came were given just a bag of tools, along with a shapeless, contorted mass and a simple book of rules. That shapeless mass was the England that our heroes had arrived to. And through toil, labor, and sheer hard work, they grafted, cried, and smiled through the pain and shame of reading that same book of rules, the one that was entitled, we know it, No Blacks, No Irish, No, all while helping to reform the monstrosity which the devastation of World War II had left behind. You called and we. So when Dr. Les Johnson requested for my help, I did ask myself, why? And what will my motivation be to see this through? But it was an easy answer. I was doing it for my hero, my mother, Doreen Graham from Clarendon in Jamaica. She had answered that same call. She came and worked with the NHS as a lab technician at the King's College Hospital in South London for as long as I remember. That amazing woman had never collected social benefits in all her life. But Doreen died in 2020 at the age of 90 without ever being represented in this country, the same one she called home. That was my purpose, my motivation. I wanted her story to be told and her contribution recognized alongside your Windrush family stories and many, many more heroes of that great and first generation. And for those reasons, I am so happy that I am not the only one, because when I called, you came. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Our next speaker is indeed another good friend of mine. I have such a pleasure of having some great friends, and this lady is a champion amongst champions, and a very humble one at that. I would give you the Her Excellency Karen Hill from, see, I'm getting a bit nervous here, Antigua and Barbuda. Please put your hands together for Her Excellency.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Lord and ladies, Excellencies, good evening. I was born in Antigua and Barbuda. I grew up in Antigua and Barbuda, and I studied here in the UK for university. I came back as High Commissioner. And I've asked myself the question, since being here, when the Windrush story became very evident to me, something that wasn't really taught to me at home in Antigua, why does this matter? Does this matter? Why are we talking about this? And I've come to the conclusion that it does matter. And it matters because it was that generation who made it possible for young people in the Caribbean growing up like myself to be here today. Because they sent back the barrels, they sent back the remittances, and they helped to build the Caribbean to what it is today. So it does matter. And I thought it matters for other reasons as well. It matters because these people also helped to build and rebuild a broken and shattered Britain in the NHS, on the railways, bus services. Then their children became the nurses and the footballers and the politicians. So I realized that it actually does matter. Then I thought it mattered for another reason. It matters because if we don't teach it, we don't understand it, the generation of young people of all colors in this country and in the Caribbean will not appreciate their identity, their sense of place, their sense of being. And perhaps that's why in so many instances we're seeing so much negativity and deviancy overrepresented in our communities. So it does matter. And because it matters, I think you agree with me, it matters, because it matters, we have to support this museum, because it's not just a space, it makes a statement about what matters, that it matters enough to collect these stories, to display it permanently so that anyone and everyone can understand why it matters. And so I could go on for a long time about what matters and what doesn't matter. But I will say one thing to Dr. Johnson and to Baroness Scotland, to my dear friend Levi, to all the persons, Paddy, who have been a part of making this become a reality. That if we don't make it happen, if we don't answer that call that Levi so eloquently challenged us to respond to, we will indeed fail the Caribbean, that Windrush generation, and in so doing, fail our young people and our future. And so I want to encourage all of us to put our hands in our pockets as much as in our hearts and commit to demonstrating that we can actually make everyone recognize and understand why this matters. Thank you.
So, why are we here? That's the question. Why are we here? You're not going to get any brownie points or anything like that, so I'm just asking a question. Why are we here?
Celebrate the national Windrush.
Yeah, we're here to do that, but we're here to do something far more specific than that. Why are we here? Yeah, you all knew it, but you're all kind of wondering, what is he saying? Is this a trick question? All right, so we've reached a part in our program where we are going to be signing the Memorandum of Understanding for all of those who are wondering what MOU is and stands for. And I'm going to go a little bit off script. We have Diana here, and I know I'm always saying to everyone, stick with the script. Don't go off script. But I'm going to go off script. And I'm going to do something quite unusual. First of all, I'd like to ask Levi to come up. Levi is the lead ambassador for National Windrush Museum. And of course, I'd like Paddy to join us. Paddy said he has a pen. And this is the MOU. So for all of those who, sorry, let me put this more than one here. But I'm going to ask something very, very unusual here. I'd like some individuals to come up and witness this, and don't all rush. And I'm going to kind of go off script here. Yeah, okay, you pick someone. I'm going to ask you.
Rudolph Walker.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Come on, give them some encouragement. Well, I was going to ask, is Maura make it? Can she make it?
Moira Stewart. Is Moira, my friend Moira? Moira Stewart.
And we'd like to ask some of the young, just come, you volunteer yourselves. Some of the younger, some of the next gen, Lamaya, Menelik, Shari. Yes, come, yeah, step up.
When he said young people, I was like, I know.
All right, so is there anyone else? Come. One of our mothers. Right. Good. So, okay. Right. So. Yeah. Come. So this is not Mystique. It's just a piece of paper. It's a memorandum. We will be posting this at some stage. But on the back of it, I think there is space for signatures. Do we need a countdown? Do you want to lead us on this countdown? Oh, it's a drum roll. Okay, so after you, Paddy? And as I said, we're making history, so hands together. Levi? Witness fire. So as I said, we are making history. We are making history. And we thank you for being here for that. A big round of applause to everyone that's come up, and thank you so much. Right, please be seated.
Okay, thank you very much, Baroness Benjamin. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence, please, for some more entertaining. We now got Alexander the Great and the Windrush actors.
The song that was on the boat. London is the place for me. London, this lovely city. You could go to France or America, India, Asia or Australia, but you must come back to London City. Now believe me, I am speaking broad-mindedly. I am glad to know my mother country. Well, I've traveled to countries years ago, but this is the place I wanted to know. London, that's the place for me.
Until the lions have their own historians. And the story of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. Mr. Achebe.
We were brought up that England was our mother country. And obviously, if your mother has problems, you got to go and help your mother. Carrie White.
Help the mother. I would hear the remark, laboring like a black, used to emphasize some occasion of sustained, hard, arduous employment. They expected of him courteous subservience and meal and employment with slum accommodation. E.R. Braithwaite.
I was brought up with the understanding that I was living in a place that did not define me because I didn't originate from there. We originate from somewhere else via Adams.
At night, when you have nothing to do, you can take a walk down Shaftesbury Avenue. There you will laugh and talk and enjoy the breeze, admire the beautiful sceneries of London. That's the place for me. No, I cannot complain of the time I have spent. I mean, my life in London is truly magnificent. I have every comfort and every sport, and my residence is at Hampton Court, London. That's the place for me. Would you like to hear the very first Windrush song? This was written in 1998 when I met the wonderful Mike Phillips, who wrote the book, along with Trevor, but Mike was and we were in Radio London, where I'd been Calypsonian in residence for a while, and we were chatting away, and this song came up. In May 48, the Empire Windrush set sail from the Caribbean for Britain. 500 on board, coming to seek work, among them ex-RAF servicemen. The fare was only £28.10, but that was a whole heap of money way back then. On the 22nd of June, the ship docked at Tilbury, to the discomfort of the government, led by Clement Attlee. They came upon the Windrush in 48. The flame of hope in their hearts, whatever fate. A few who formed the vanguard came through, although the doors barred. It's true that most found it hard, but survivors always find a way. They came a part of the great diaspora to claim our right to be part of what we all are. This land so fit for heroes must hand the laurels to those whose stand, as history shows, built multicultural Britain today. These were not the first. Thousands came before to put in their bit for democracy. Many of them died doing their duty to ensure that Britain could remain free. On the Windrush, they thought they were British citizens until they felt the iron fists in the velvet mittens. No longer required, citizens soon became immigrants, which Mosley and Powell used to fuel ignorance. They came upon the Windrush in 48. The flame of hope in their hearts, whatever fate. A few who formed the vanguard came through, although the doors barred. It's true that most found it hard, but survivors always find a way. They came a part of the great diaspora to claim our right to be part of what we all are. This land so fit for heroes must hand the laurels to those who stand, as history shows, built multicultural Britain today. Plenty time has passed. Many things have changed. Some might feel we lead in fashion and sport. But make no mistake, some still find we strange. Plenty battles out there still to be fought. This world we share, it belongs to all of we. We must take care to respect multiplicity. Survivors of Windrush know that in love and war all is fair. The empire has crumbled, is only Commonwealth left to share. They came upon the Windrush in 48. The flame of hope in their hearts, whatever fate. A few who formed the vanguard came through, although the doors barred. It's true, the hope have been hard, but them if they find what they say. They came upon the greatest thing of all. They came so that everybody here could stand tall. A few who formed the vanguard came through, although the doors barred. It's true that most found it hard, but survivors always find a way. They came a part of the great diaspora to claim our right to be part of what we all are. This land so fit for heroes must hand the laurels to those who stand, as history shows, built multicultural Britain today. You can find it. Thank you. You can find it on Spotify. Just put in Windrush, Alexander the Great, you'll find it. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you. All your...
We're rapidly coming towards the end of our program. We do want to let you have some time to mix and mingle, but we have two more items that we want to kind of do quite quickly. On the left, I have Denise Lydiat. She's the National Windrush Museum's director. On the right, we have Terry Jarvis, and he's one of the National Windrush Museum ambassadors. And I do believe something quite extraordinary is about to happen.
All right, good evening. After that wonderful opening speech by Baroness Florella Benjamin, and then followed by Dr. Les, about self-reliance, assets and power, I think it's important that we also start giving the assets so our story can be told. And I wanted to present to you this wonderful globe, which was made by my friend Peter Benmax. Put your hand up, Peter. And I went to Peter and I said, one of the things we want to do is tell our whole story through his marvelous globe. Now, this globe starts from the Crimean War with Mary Seacole and goes through World War I, where we had black pilots actually in the Royal Flying Corps, and then to World War II and the advent of the V1 and V2 rocket, and also the submarines that were active in the Atlantic and Caribbean Sea. Most people don't know about that because Britain was being starved and the Caribbean was providing food and raw materials. And then goes on to World War II. And then actually what Peter did was made a scale miniature of the Windrush. And all of this, you can see it next door, actually works, and you'll see it all in motion. Okay? And then we're also working on other things. And I've worked across a number of different museums, and one of the things Dr. Les did say, this is about a collaboration. It's not just any one person's story, it's actually all of our stories, and we should all share in this history. And so I want to donate this as one of the first objects to you, Denise, for the National Windrush Museum.
That's powerful. I'll hold it. Take a picture of it. Get a photo.
Right. Oh, where's your photographer? I thought your photographer. Oh, there he is.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I got you.
I want to say thank you on behalf of the National Windrush Museum. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Reginald. One of the most important things about the National Windrush Museum is that it comes from what I call the new elders. And the reason I call us the new elders is I'm a new elder, is that it's another generation who either came here very young as children or who were born here. And the reason it's important is because it's a different story, it's a different narrative to the pioneer narrative. It's one that has evolved in our being here. We can talk about Britain from the inside out. We are the bridge between the pioneers and the next generation. It's a very important role to have. We are the only generation with the capacity to reach into the past and to reach the future. And so it really is incumbent on us to rise to this challenge specifically to ensure that we lay the foundations for this museum. Some of the young people that you saw who came up here when Dr. Les asked for witnesses are from our Next Gen Council. It's very important to us to ensure that we take the next generation in the building of this museum because they will be the custodians of it in the future. So thank you, Terry. Thank you, Reginald. And thank you again for joining us on this historic journey. It's just historic at every point. Our challenge as a museum is that we are doing history real time. And so every time we go somewhere, we speak to someone, we are creating a historic moment. Many museums are challenged with recording the past, but ours is focused on the lived experience. We champion the lived experience. What we're doing this evening is part of that lived experience, and we bring it center stage, and you're all a part of that. So it's extraordinary to be making history, and I don't think many of us thought when we got up this morning that we'd be making history, but here we are. And it's a constant theme for us, and it is part of our way of doing museums differently. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you, Terry. Now, Denise did mention something about the Next Gen Council. Who asked you to all stand up? All right, I'd like you guys to stand. So anyone who feels in the room, like myself, that they're kind of young or youngish. Right, come on, guys. I'd like you to stand. Now, this says, and it doesn't matter if you're a part of the council. If you feel that you're a part of that next generation, please stand. Please, I really want you to stand because I want others in the room. Yes, Maury, you can stand. Ramon, come on, stand up. Chase, can you stand? I want you to look around. This is really important, guys, because I don't want you to say that you came to the House of Lords and there's a bunch of kind of antiques, that's all you saw. All right? And I'm talking about the furniture, of course. So these people that you see around, thank you, Lisa. You can see they are the custodians, and they are going to be taking things forward. And I really want you to encourage our younger generation at every single move, because without them, this is all just talk. So please encourage, and please join us in this journey. Now, thank you. Now, one of the pleasures that I have a lot of problems that I'm solving constantly, and I'm always saying to my team, my job is to take uncertainty into certainty, and I'm constantly playing with this kind of this battle of how to do that. But in that process, I have some nice things to do. One of the things that I can do this evening is present a bouquet of flowers to none other than our wonderful Baroness Floella. Please step forward. And on behalf of the National Windrush Museum, we'd like to present this small token of our appreciation to you, Baroness. We actually wanted to bring you a large bouquet, but we were wondering how Keith was going to carry that going home. So please, on our behalf, please. It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the other individual, which the National Maritime Museum and the Windrush Museum are going to be doing a lot with, particularly with regards to the blue economy and some projects that we're going to be talking about, is Her Excellency Karen May Hill. Could you please step forward? Give a round of applause. So thank you so much. And as I said, that you've paved the way for some very, very important projects that we're going to be working on with the Maritime Museum. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, as we are just bringing this to a close, I know that there are going to be a few opportunities for you to kind of meet each other as you go. And we do have some other flowers that I understand are just going to be coming around to the tables after I come off the mic. So once again, I'd like to thank you for coming today. Is there something else following this? We have some vox pops that are going on in the other room. Feel free to network. So I'd like you to put your hands together once again for yourselves. Thank you so much for coming to the launch of the National Windrush Museum and its relationship with the Maritime Museum. So it just leaves me to hand you over to for our vote of thanks, as you can see in the program, to again one of our very, very good supporters and champions. I was going to say Lady Paulette Simpson. Maybe I'm prophesying so here. So please come forward, Paulette, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Les, for calling me a lady. The lady I am. But I have one of the easiest tasks tonight, and it's really to express our deep and sincere gratitude to several individuals. So first, I'd like to just express my love and my gratitude to Baroness Floella Benjamin for hosting us. Your support, your level of inspiration and motivation is what keep a lot of ideas alive, and not only keep them alive, but make them come to fruition. So I'm very happy that you believed in the National Windrush Monument, the vision of the Windrush Monument, and that you saw it befitting that here in the House of Lords, we would start to create one of the manifestations of the history and the legacy that will be left to the future generation. So we want to thank you very much for that. Our sincere thanks to some of the key stakeholders, and you've seen a lot of them come up here, and founder Dr. Les, he doesn't take, where is he? Have you ever tried telling him no? It doesn't work, right? So he doesn't take no, but that's the resilience, part of the resilience of the Windrush generation. A lot of us here are from the Windrush generation. If you're not from the Windrush generation, either your neighbor, your supplier, your friend, your co-worker, your nurse, your doctor, your entertainer, your hero is from the Windrush generation. So the Windrush generation touches everybody's lives, so it's very good to see you here. So I also want to thank Denise for all her hard work. Denise has worked incredibly hard. She tries to organize all of us. Trying to get a Zoom meeting with all of us is impossible, but you keep trying, and we really appreciate your dedication, your commitment, but also your passion to this. And you know when things get hard, it's passion that takes you over the line. So we want to thank you for that, and we guarantee our continued support in all that you seek to do. Now, what can I say about Levi? Levi doesn't know the word no either. He doesn't say, will you, when you do this. So Levi, I share your passion. I had the fortune of meeting your mother. I know how she has shaped you as a person. I know how she would have told the people at the back who are still talking to keep quiet. Right? And I know you are also passionate about this, and you've used your influence, your network, and your passion to bring a lot of us along, and we want to thank you for that. Paddy, you don't know what you've gotten into. We're just going to come and take over the Maritime Museum, but in a good way. But we want to thank you for believing and for actually putting things into action. A lot of people give lip service. Is that Les at the back? All right. You can see that I'm a school teacher, right? No, I'm not really. But we want to thank you for partnering. A lot of dreams can only come alive through partnership and collaboration. And for partnership and collaboration, you have to have an element of passion, an element of trust, and an element of dependability. And so far, you've demonstrated all of those. And I want to thank you and your team for being part of something that is more important than we even dare to dream about. Because what we're doing here, as Denise had said, we're taking history, we're taking our lived experience, and we're preparing it for the future generation so that they have a sense of identity, they have a self-esteem, and they know who they are. And most importantly, they know that they're now written permanently into British history, which has been part of the problem for the Windrush generation. So I want to thank you for that. Now, there are numerous other persons, too numerous to mention, but it would be remiss of me not to mention our High Commissioner. Tonight, you're here representing the entire Caribbean High Commission. And often, the Caribbean people who are there don't understand the Windrush story. They understand the remittance and they understand the barrel, but they don't understand the story and the struggles. So it's important that as we formulate part of history, that we also have a place where they too can see the connection between the Windrush generation and the fortune of the Caribbean arena. So I want to thank you for being here and for your support. So to everybody who's participated, the administrators, the musicians, everybody who has made this a very historic occasion, I want to say thank you. I also want to thank all of you who've been here, who are here with us, because you are now, without even knowing it, part of all the ambassadors that are going to take the National Windrush Monument into the wider society. And as one of the speakers said, I want each of you to think, how can I now make a difference? Now that you're here, and in 50 years' time, your pictures will be in all sorts of history books saying you were here when it was signed. But what can each of us do to empower Les and Denise and Levi and Flowella and others to move this forward in a very tangible way in a very short period of time? It's not only about money, it's about giving of yourself, it's about support, it's about coming to events like this. It's also about telling others what's happening. And I know in this room, the sphere of influence is extremely wide. I know about half of you, and it's wide. So when you leave here tonight, think consciously, how can I make a difference and how can I support? What is important for us, for our parents who have passed, and also for our children and grandchildren. Where in Britain will they be able to go and see themselves, see their foreparents, and see the contribution that we've made to British society? So I leave here tonight, and I hope you will do too, with a renewed sense of optimism. There's some negativity regarding Windrush, but let us put that aside. That's one chapter of a very large book. You're all here to help us to create the chapter in the book. And so I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for the conversations you're having tonight. I want to thank you for the conversations you are going to have tomorrow and into the future, because this will be only the first of several events. A lot of you have traveled far. I can see a delegation from Birmingham. I want you to get home safely. I know, and I want you to spread the word in Birmingham, because at some point, Levi is going to lead us up to Birmingham. So, pardon me? Okay, right. So, and Wales. I've started it, right? In Birmingham and Wales and Sussex and Wembley and North London and South London, and to the entire UK, we will take over. So, let me personally thank you for being here. I know there are lots of competing events. A lot of you could be shopping for Black Friday, but instead you're shopping for the Windrush Monument. So we want to thank you for being here. And once again, organizing something like this and bringing us all together is by no mean feat. And so Denise, I hope you're satisfied with the outcome. I see Les trying to give flowers up. And Levi, I hope you two are satisfied with what's here, and also Baroness Benjamin. And Paddy, we want to thank you for your commitment. It's a partnership. There's no divorce in this relationship. So it's for life. So I thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much. Continue to mingle, and when you depart, have a safe journey home. And remember, the Windrush is now part of your life. Thank you.